Okay, so now we know that classes can have private data members, public function members, and what we're going to talk about is another option, which is to create what's called a static member variable. Now remember, generally our member variables might look like this. This puts a reserved word static in front of it. And what static does is it denotes that no matter how many in this case, tree objects you create, there's only going to be one copy of this. Now, if something is not static, if I was to create 3 tree objects, they would all have this data member inside of them, 3 separate copies. So this just makes one. So let's take a look. The functions are written in line here. So here's the tree constructor, which just increments the object count. So every time you declare a new tree, it'll increment that. Here's just a get function that'll return the object count. The other thing that's a little bit different for these is that the definition, if we want to give them an initial, assign them an initial value, happens outside of the class. So here's the class, and here I am outside of the class. So this is just going to set that static data member object count to 0. Because it's outside of the class, it requires tree : in front of it. Okay, so here's a program that includes the tree class. It defines 3 trees, oak, elm, and pine. Now remember, every time the constructor is executed, it increments the object count. So now, when we call this get object count, it's going to say we have 3 trees in our program. Because this incremented it when its constructor was called, then this incremented the same static data member, and this did. So it went from 0, 1, 2, and 3, and now when we display it using the get function, it tells us there's 3.